Welcome to Intel's presentation of the International 12-Meter Association Centennial Tour, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 12-meter class and its 3 decades as the official class of the America's Cup. I'm Lindy Thaxton, joining you from Cannes, the fourth of 5 Centennial Tour stops in the Mediterranean and site of the 2007 12-meter World Championships. The excitement of the Centennial Tour began in earnest in Port America's Cup in Valencia, Spain, as the 12s joined in the festivities of the 32nd America's Cup. Carrie Fraze reports from the International 12-meter Valencia Regatta.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Fraze at Port America's Cup here in Valencia, Spain, the venue to the 32nd America's Cup. This week we're watching the 12-meter yachts compete in the International 12 Meters Association Regatta. Did you know that from 1958 to 1987 the 12 meters were the official class of yacht in the America's Cup? And some of the best known yachts from that golden era can be seen here today, such as Valiant from 1970, KZ3, KZ5 and also KZ7, also known as the Plastic Fantastic. They all competed in 1987, and also the winner of the 1980 America's Cup, Freedom. The spectators here in Valencia and the America's Cup management have warmly welcomed the 12 meters as the grace and glory of the former Cup class meets with the power and excitement of the modern International America's Cup class. The 12s will race on the America's Cup course just off Neptune Beach here in Valencia. There are 4 days of racing, 7 races in all, and 3 divisions: Grand Prix, Modern and Classic. The design of each yacht is distinct from each other and also distinguishable from the International America's Cup class, as Dave Pedrick, designer of Stars and Stripes 87, now explains.
The Grand Prix boats are defined as boats from Australia 2 with the winged keel onward, and with one exception, they've all been winged keel boats. The class that raced in Newport with the rudders aft but a trim tab on the keel are called Modern, which with a 100-year-old class is a relative reference. So those boats are from basically 1967 to 1983. And then the Classics precede that, and there are the post-World War II Classics that competed for the America's Cup, and then the pre-World War II Classics.
As the racing began on Thursday, the story of the day was the Valencia Sea Breeze, and the start was delayed from 2:30 to almost 3:30 as the sea breeze filled in. Once the breeze built, it didn't stop, with steady, sustained winds of 26 knots and gusts well over 30. Within the first 10 minutes of racing on day 1, the Valencia Sea Breeze claimed its first victim as KA-10, the Challenge 12 boat built for the 1983 America's Cup, was demasted, destroying not only her mast but her mainsail and jib as well.
Oh yeah, a big problem for the first day, on the first leg of the regatta, because we break the mast. In fact, we break a spreader and the mast broke. But we was not really unlucky because everybody was safe on board, and I think it's enough for us.
With the modern division reduced to only 2 boats after the loss of Challenge 12, the story of Friday's Day 2 racing was of split match races between the remaining 2 contenders, 1980 champion Freedom and 1970 defender hopeful Valiant. The anticipated fleet racing format evolved into a match race between these 2 American yachts with completely different strategies, as explained by 1992 America's Cup winning skipper Bill Koch, now the owner-captain of the 12-meter KZ7 Kiwi Magic.
In fleet racing, you want to pick the right wind shifts, and it's very important to get the right position on the race course. In match racing, what you want to do is to be the first to cross the other boat, and then you want, as we say, sit on his face for the entire rest of the race. You don't want him to get beyond you or out of your sight. You want to be between him and the next mark, and you give up a lot of distance for that. But the whole point between 2 boats is that one crosses the finish line first, and that's all it counts. It's not a race of time, it's a matter of who crosses the finish line.
Day 2 saw Freedom and Valiant split their respective match races, with the Grand Prix boats tuning yacht and crew alike for the regatta's final 3 weekend races. With 2 days of racing under their belts and the jet lag subsiding, the 12-metre crews are much like their cruising brethren. Exploring their destination is as much fun as sailing there. In Valencia, that destination is Port America's Cup, a spectacular collaboration between the Spanish government and America's Cup management.
Well, it's obviously taken a great deal of effort on behalf of Spanish authorities here and the organizing authority, America's Cup Management. It's taken 4 years to build it, for the teams to train here and have the kind of facility that gives them an opportunity to do their best.
While Port America's Cup is home base to the 12 syndicates competing for the America's Cup, it is also the social centre of this unique city on Spain's Riviera. Nestled adjacent to the Mediterranean on Neptune Beach, Port America's Cup has hosted over 5 million guests since its 2004 opening. 23 different restaurants and beverage stops are spread across the port, which is 7 miles long in its horseshoe shape. The Defender Bar has become legendary as its patrons, more than 2,300 at a time, line its rails to cheer the teams on their departure and re-entries to the base port. Just past the Defender lies the Foredeck Club, where the America's Cup is on public display. And of course, Port America's Cup wouldn't be complete without exhibitions of the incredible yachts that are the America's Cup, which inspire the sailor and non-sailor alike to the water. And when the sun goes down, the lights come up as the port and its Foredeck Club transform into a late-night dining destination, replete with free public concerts from artists including the legendary Joe Cocker. It is a venue like no other, built by sailors, for sailors, a sailing sensory overload. Now back to you, Lindy.
When we return to Intel's telecast of the International 12-Meter Association Centennial Tour, Carrie Fraze is joined by 2-time World Match Racing champion and BMW Oracle team member John Ziskin for Saturday's deciding race in the Valencia Regatta Grand Prix Series.